My name's Richard White, and I have this title of The Wisdom from the Wordsmith, which I've seen as a challenge. In a world of fake news, a senseless escalation of human destructiveness, and an illness that constricts and threatens us, what can we say? Where can we turn? So these are a few thoughts, not so much words of wisdom as words that come to mind or come to heart. They may be helpful reminders of what is important, the nature of truth, the centrality of compassion, and the touchstone of experience. In the words of Emily Dickinson, tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies, too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. Um, Dickinson's poem is saying something profound in an oblique, hinting way. Something about the truth, something about words, something about experience. Tell all the truth, a tall order. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Impossible, we might say. The truth of its nature is absolute, final, complete, and we are finite, fallible creatures, hopefully aspiring, groping, searching, but inevitably falling short. I am the way, the truth, and the life. The truth may be seen as a divine attribute, both in origin and quality, the goal of our searching and the companion in our striving. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Josephine Hart, an Irish writer, recalled hearing these words as a child at the end of Mass. She was transfixed. It was a coup de foudre, as she put it, French for strike of lightning, or an expression for love at first sight. Josephine felt the words in the depth of her being. She was marked, scarred, burnt by the words. It was for her the perfect poem, paralleling the experience of truth. This comment was in Josephine's introduction to her anthology of poetry called Catching Life by the Throat, Robert Frost's definition of poetry. Truth of its nature has a terrifying absoluteness, costing not less than everything, as T.S. Eliot puts it. The word, according to the poet, the way we encounter truth, is more often than not slant, with explanation kind, and gradually or over a lifetime. As Gerard Manley Hopkins writes of St. Augustine's conversion, it was a lingering out sweet skill. But the word, for all its obliqueness, has power. W.H. Auden described poetry as memorable speech. We see memory as the moments and narrative, the collected scars of beauty and terror, unforgettable and life unfolding events, people, stories that mysteriously and providentially recur, remind and instruct. It is no accident that words, verses, phrases stay with us. T.S. Eliot, in his poem Preludes, describes a scene of quiet desperation, a feeling that may have a familiar ring, a time when fear or boredom, repetition and purposelessness have soured our days. With the artist's attention to detail, Eliot builds the picture and creates the mood. Then suddenly, in the midst of these soul-sapping images comes these lines. I am moved by fancies that are curled round these images and cling. The notion of some infinitely gentle, infinitely suffering thing. These words are a commentary on and a reiteration of the line, the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us. A word of compassion, a truth that can only be hinted at, glimpsed in a poem or in the image of water from a cup or wine at the end of a stick. The truth, as the poet suggests, is at the heart of our world. As Gerard Manley Hopkins puts it, Thou mastering me, God, giver of breath and bread, world strand, sway of the sea, Lord of living and dead. Thou hast bound bones and veins in me, fastened me flesh, and after it almost unmade thy doing. And dost thou touch me afresh? Over again I feel thy finger and find thee. The opening stanza of Gerard Manley Hopkins' poem, The Wreck of the Deutschland, is another of my memory fragments. Why do I find myself going back to these words? They evoke the feeling of dread and the thought of enormity. They contain a hint of that terrible loving suggested by truth, and they seem to make sense of the recurring chaos and incomprehension that I glibly term life. Over again I feel thy finger and find thee. This terrible loving can never be captured in words. The hinting and suggesting, the glimpsing and the wonder, both allows experience to be unadorned and respected, but open to the real but ungraspable truth, a loving providence at the heart of the world.